Hi, welcome. It's Elaine, and today I just thought I'd do a video and show you a mesh wreath today with some florals. I'm going to be creating my wreath on, this is a 12-inch metal frame, and I've gone ahead and attached 18 pipe cleaners. That's what we'll be using to attach our mesh to the base. I've gone ahead and cut 9 pieces in this green and beige that I'm going to pair with this olive green for my base. These are the florals that I'm planning on using today. I've got some greenery, which is like a fern, and it's in that olive tone. I've got this beautiful stem of peonies. Beautiful stargazer lily with the bud. And some filler flowers, and we'll see if we're going to need any more than this. I was going to try to do something a little different from a normal grapevine. Not a grapevine, I'm sorry. From a mesh wreath, I thought maybe I would try to design the way that I would on a grapevine without using all the tails that a mesh would require. Just making a large bow and doing a floral arrangement on one side. But before I get started with that, I just wanted to show you what I was using. The reason why I've picked these colors, I just think that as a backdrop, the olive green and the other shaded green would be nice. And one thing that I did want to show you was I have some poly burlap mesh in my stash. And it does unravel quite a bit, as you can see right here. So there is a way that you can cut this. The other mesh, I did use my rotary cutter, this right here. This one, I'm going to use a wood burning tool to cut. This is a wood burning tool. It's very hot. Has an angled tip on it, and what this will do is seal so we won't get as much unraveling. I'll just show you here. I'm going to just cut this rough edge off, and what you do is, if you can see this, there's like little tiny squares, and you want to just run your wood burner down between those two. So let me just show you. I would just place my wood burner on the edge and slowly go down between the two lines, the little squares that I pointed out to you. And just follow that all the way down, like so. So I've taken off this, and then I'm not sure if you would be able to see it. What it's done is it sealed the edge. So I just wanted to show you, if you have seen some people or heard of some people talking about cutting their mesh with a wood burning tool, I just wanted to show you how that's done. What I'm going to be doing is measuring my cuts out to 20 inches. So I'm going to, I have a glass cutter, a cutting board here, and that's what I'm going to run my wood burner on. You can't do that on your plastic mat, you'll melt it. So I'm just going to come up here, place my little rock. That's a picture of me. Not a bad likeness. So I placed it at the 30, and I'm going to come down to the 10 mark. I'll get my wood burning tool, and I can see my 10 mark up here. So I'll begin my cut And I'm just going to follow slow. You don't want to do it quick the way you would with a rotary cutter. And I'm just going to come through like that. And we've cut a 20-inch length of mesh. I need to do this 9 times. So again, I'm going to measure out to my 30 and cut at 10, giving me a 20-inch piece. I line it up, and then I just run my wood cutting tool, making sure I'm on my glass cutting board, and I just run that through. We're going to do the same thing again, being mindful of your wood burning tool. It's very hot. Here's my line from my 10, coming down, right through those little squares, and cut my piece. Again, and I'm just going to repeat this until I have my 9 pieces cut. Coming to my 10 mark, just slowly running my wood burning tool right down through there. You've got your cut. While I'm doing that, I'll introduce myself. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos, my name is Elaine. I'm owner and creator at Inspired by My Angel, CLM. I'm new to the art of wreath making. My journey began September of 2020. After losing my job due to the COVID, I worked in a small ladies consignment boutique. And due to the required mandatory closures, she was forced to close her business. So that happened in August of 2020, and in September, I was, what am I going to do with myself? So I thought, I came out and I said, well, I'll get my fall wreath out. And I took a look at it, and it had seen better days. And my habit was, for all of the different seasons and holidays, was to decorate my door with a wreath. So I turned to YouTube, like many of you are doing right now, and watched numerous videos on wreath making, and thought, gee, I think I could do that. Went to the craft store, got myself some supplies, and made a wreath. And it actually came out quite nice with the guidance I had gotten from various designers on YouTube and on doing Facebook Lives. It came out nice, but what was best of all was the joy I experienced while creating my first wreath. I never would have known, had I not lost my job and attempted to make my own wreath. You know that saying, when one door closes, another opens? For sure, that's what happened to me. All right, let me just count and see how many I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I just need to cut one more. The wood burning tool I got at Joann Fabrics, Walmart. I think there's many places that carry it. It does come with this little stand. Make sure you always use that, placing your wood burning tool when you're not using it on there. So as I said, the joy I experienced creating the wreath caught me completely off guard. I had no idea how much I would enjoy the process of creating. So I'll fast forward. That led me to continue watching videos, wanting to make more wreaths. I became so passionate. I began making wreaths, and my thoughts were, what am I going to do with all of these wreaths? And through watching these videos, different people were talking about Etsy. I had heard of Etsy, but I wasn't that familiar with it. So back to the computer, and I did some research, and then I thought, well, maybe I could sell my wreaths on Etsy. And I have opened up an Etsy store, and the name of that is Inspired by My Angel, CLM. Okay, let's get this cutting board out of the way. I've shut my wood burning tool, has a little toggle here on. I've placed that in the off position, but I'm just getting it out of the way because it is still warm, and I'm just going to move my cutting board, which I happen to pick this one up at Walmart. This has a print. If this is something you think you would like to do, I would recommend getting a clear so you can see your measurements clearer on your cutting mat. They didn't have it, and like everything else, I'm in a hurry. When I get it in my head, I want to do it. I want to do it right then and there. So it still works. Okay, so I'm done with this mesh for now. So now we'll start making our wreath. Oh, I didn't show you the ribbons. These are the ribbons that I've decided that I would like to use, and I'll tell you why. I showed you the florals and the colors. I have this beautiful plaid argyle, and it's in that mossy olive green color, which is going to look beautiful with the two meshes that we're going to be using. I decided on using two mesh just to give some contrast and some depth to the wreath. It could certainly be made in any color of your choice. But so there's the color. So I decided I would use this green. And because my florals, as I showed you, have quite a bit of pink in them, I decided I would do this pale pink. You can see that. It's a very soft pink. Then I also have, this is again in that moss green. It has a botanical print with some ferns. My reason for choosing ferns. And this deeper pink, which goes very nicely with the stargazer lilies. The centers are that nice deep pink, as are the filler flowers that I've chosen. So that's the reason for choosing these ribbons. So we'll be making a nice bow later with those ribbons. We're going to get those out of the way for now. So what I'm going to do is alternate my mesh. So I'm going to start off with this beige and a little bit of a lighter green. And what you're going to do with this is just lay it down on your mat. What I'm going to do is fold under my edge. Just maybe an inch. And then I'm going to walk my fingers down the center, just like this, gathering. And then I'm going to let that one fold under about an inch. And what we've created is like a bow tie. I'm going to bring my wreath over, and I'm going to place my ruffle. It's called a woodland ruffle. I'm going to place that down. I'm going to take my chenille stems. I'm pressing it nice and close to the metal frame. And I'm just going to crisscross and twist. Do 2 twists, and I'm just going to fluff that up. Now I'll take the one that I cut with the wood burner, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lay that out. I'm going to fold under about an inch, and I'm just going to walk my fingers. I'm letting these fingers guide me so I stay centered. I'm just walking it up, walking it up. As I get to the end, I'm just taking my fingers and flipping that edge under. And I've done the same thing. I've created a bow tie. So I'm going to go to my next tie, place it down, pressing it firmly, take my chenille stems, and I'm just going to crisscross and twist, and then give it one more twist. And then I'm just going to fluff that out. And because I cut this with the wood tool, we're not going to have all that fraying. And I'm just going to keep my chenille stems up where I can see them. So now again, I'm going to go with our lighter green and beige. And I'm going to repeat this process. Folding under about an inch, walking up the center, until I'm almost to the end, and that very last inch, I turn under, creating our bow tie. Come right to the next chenille stem, place it nice and tight to the metal frame, taking my chenille stems, crisscrossing it, 1 twist, 2 twists, and then just pull it out to the center and fluff that out. And we're just going to repeat this process. So that was our light one. Now we'll go to our olive. And again, turning that under, walking up the center, trying to keep it as straight as possible. That last inch, turning it under, creating our bow tie. Crisscross, twist, twist. And then I'm just going to fan out my mesh. So you can see what a nice contrast that's giving. We've got the deeper and the lighter, so we're creating a little bit of depth as we go. We're starting with just a 12-inch frame because that is all I was able to get. There seems to be quite a shortage on supplies coming in from overseas, but by the time we're done, we'll measure this. This is going to be a good size wreath. It'll be nice and full. So I'm just going to continue along, alternating my colors. And one thing I would enjoy very much is if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel that you're watching right now. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you enjoyed the video, if I was clear in my direction. I would so appreciate the feedback. It will help me grow as a designer by what you are able to tell me how I'm doing. It will help to get my name out there if you would hit that subscribe button and follow me, share that with your friends, and hopefully I'll inspire you to take on this journey of wreath making, or at least you'd enjoy following me as I go through. There are so many talented designers that are willing to share with you. I realize I'm just a beginner, but I did think maybe less intimidating, someone also who's just learning, sharing what she's learning could be helpful. So that's the reason for my videos, and trying to become more established with what I'm doing as well. I began my wreath making journey, as I said, in September of 2020. By October, about a month after I found my joy, I found 2 designers who offer online classes, and I did join those classes and take those. And what I'm sharing with you is what I'm learning in those classes. They've been extremely helpful. I've learned so much. I can't say enough positive things about the entire experience. Also, if you wouldn't mind, visit my Etsy shop, Inspired by My Angel, CLM. Take a look and see some of the items that I've made. I have about 115 different pieces for all the different holidays, seasons, and occasions. If this isn't something you'd want to do and you think you would like to purchase, you like what you see, visit my shop, favorite it, would help me again with my small business. And it truly has been a wonderful experience this far. As I said, it all started with making that one wreath after losing my job, enjoying the process, finding such joy, and now I have a shop and I'm selling, and now doing these videos. And the videos I've only been doing for about the last maybe 6 weeks. So that's why any feedback would be greatly welcomed. Just folding that edge under, walking my fingers up the mesh, trying to stay centered. And as I approach the end, I'm just taking my fingers and folding that raw edge under. And now this is just the way that I'm doing it. There's many ways to do mesh. I like to try different ways. A lot of people do the loop, which I have done as well. But I thought today I would like to try doing this woodland ruffle. And seeing how it came out. And you can see it's already getting so beautiful. And we still have the inside to do. Now, usually with a mesh wreath, you go into each chenille stem where you've tied your mesh and you put ribbons. And I may still do that. This is a work in progress. I never done one the way that I've got it thought out in my head. I don't know if it would look good, but I thought let's try it. And if you wanted to come along with me as I experiment, I'm glad to have you. So usually you would put what they call ribbon tails in each twist tie that we're doing here. And there would be lots of ribbons throughout the wreath. I thought, well, what if we designed the same way we would on a grapevine? And this is our wreath, and if you were doing a crescent shape and you had your florals here on one side, maybe with a nice big bow here, and just this showing. Or maybe we'll add a few tails to the one side. I'm not placing a sign. That's something else that's usually done with a mesh. So I'm just experimenting. And in my mind's eye, it looks beautiful, but who knows? That's yet to be determined. So I am willing to try anything that I learn, or as my creative mind begins its process, I try to just go with it, because what's the worst that could happen? I take it apart and I do it again. And we never know unless we try. So what I'm hoping is that through this video, you'll see I'm just starting, what I'm able to accomplish, and that perhaps you will as well. Just try it. And hopefully I'm providing you with enough information that you would be able to do this. Like I said, we went over it. I picked out my florals first. And then from the florals, I picked my ribbon. Once I had that, I chose my mesh. Cut our mesh, put our chenille stems on, placing 18, and cut 9 pieces of our mesh at 20 inches, giving us a total of 18, one for each of the ties that we have on our wreath. I do hope to one day perhaps be able to do a live where I can converse, you can comment, and we can have conversation, and I would get to know those of you who are watching. But being so new at this, I just feel as though I need to focus more on what I'm doing. But hopefully, eventually I will get there, and we can establish a relationship together as we're taking this journey. Okay, so we've completed our outside ring. And now let me see, we started with a 12-inch. And now we have a 22-inch wreath. Okay, so now, as I said, I'm going to go to the inside. I'm located in Central Florida, originally from the state of Rhode Island. I moved to Florida 17 years ago. And am enjoying it very much. I do enjoy the mild weather that we have. I'm in Central Florida, maybe an hour north of Orlando. So it does get seasonal here. We experience some weather changes, but overall it's very mild. And I do enjoy that type of weather much more than I did the snow and ice. Granted, it's a trade-off. It gets very hot here in the summer, as it gets very cold if you're from a climate like that. So it's a trade-off. You're in the house more in the winter cold months, and down here when it's extremely hot and humid, I'm inside in the air conditioning. But I like the fact that when I'm inside and I look outside, it's not gray and dreary. It's sunny, blue sky, green grass, and I have not regretted my move for not even a day. It's a very good move. And being in Central Florida, you know, there's the hurricanes, of course, but by the time they get inland to where I am, they're pretty much just a tropical storm, so there's not too much to worry about. So I like that aspect of the area. Okay, just a few more to go. You can buy work frames that already have the ties on them. They're a little more expensive, and I personally don't mind putting the ties on myself. And you can create various sizes. Like I do some wreaths, I only put 12 on to make it a little bit smaller. I seem like I have a little bit of control over it, and I like that. But those are available to wreath makers as well. I have never used one, I must say. I've always done this, but there has been a problem getting them. Actually, these wreath frames I got at Craft Outlet, an online shop a while ago. But you can usually find them at the Dollar Tree store for $1 and put your own pipe cleaners versus $6.75 or $7.85, letting you keep your costs down, passing that savings along to your customers. I think I might have missed one. Oh no, there it is. I got it. Okay, so what did I just put in? I put in the dark. So I need to put in this light one. I thought this green would be a nice backdrop to the florals, more natural looking, and I wanted to create some contrast. I mean, pink would have worked as using the mesh, white, but I thought this green was pretty. And doing the two different for a tonal effect, I liked. You can give me your opinion when we're all done if I made the right choice or not, okay? I must say, I've done some centerpieces. I still have a long way to go with that. I do enjoy working with the grapevine to make wreaths. I've done many of these mesh, but I do have to say, now that I've been doing this a few months, if I were to choose a favorite, it would be a grapevine wreath. But this is fun too. Okay, did the light. Back to the olive. So I know by me taking the time to show you how to cut with the wood tool is making this a little lengthy. I'm wondering if maybe once I get this done, I should stop and then do a second video showing you the process of adding our florals. Let me just finish this up. We can make the bow together, and then I'll judge if I'm taking up too much of your time in one video. Although you can pause it and come back to it at another time. It's not like you have to sit and watch the whole thing all at once. Okay, we'll play that by ear. It's a little noisy in here. I do have my air conditioner on because it's in the 80s today. I prefer not to use it, but we are getting to that time of the year where I'll need to have the air conditioner running, but hopefully you can hear me. You can let me know in the comments if you don't mind, if it was too intrusive. Okay, so that was our last piece of mesh. And look at how beautiful. See that from the sides? It's just gorgeous, nice and full. And like I said, we've got a 22-inch wreath. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. Let me get my bow maker. I use the Easy Bow Maker. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. I'm sorry, I have to just count these pegs in. It's the nature of the beast. They get a little bit loose and you just need to tap them in. Okay. So which ribbon should I start off with? I think I want to add a little contrast between the green. So I think I'll start with this deep pink. And I'm just going to place my spool. There's a place for your spool. There's measurements on the Easy Bow Maker. I got mine on Amazon. Just going to take off a little bit of ribbon. I just held it up to the wreath because I want to see how long I'm going to make this. Let's see. So about 20 to 21 inches long from my tail. So you just squish the ribbon down in between these two pegs and then bring this ribbon towards you. That's going to be your ribbon tail. Once you've done that, you're going to come in and twist the ribbon so the wrong side is facing up. So when you flip it over, you've got the right side. So I'm going to make about a 6-inch loop. Like I said, there's measurements on here. So what I do is I place my hand, bring in my baby finger to the 6-inch mark. I scrunch my ribbon down in between the pegs, and then I give it a twist. And I'm going to come over here to the other side, mark at the 6, place my ribbon down, give it a twist. Repeating that. Now you can measure with the loop below because it's already at the 6. Putting the ribbon down, making sure to twist. Measure with your previous loop, scrunch it down. Give it a twist. So I think I'm going to do 3 loops of this on each side because I want this bow to be nice and full. Okay, so that's our 3rd loop. So now we don't need to twist. We're going to just come down because we have the right side of our ribbon facing up. And you'll notice I'm always holding it on there, and I'm just going to grab my scissor and cut that the same length. I just want to get my angles going in the right direction. And now we're done with that ribbon. I like to roll my ribbon right back up again. It's expensive. I want to keep it nice. And I use a common pin just to hold it. I'll put that off to the side. Okay, let's go in now with our olive green. And that's in this argyle print. Okay, I'm going to measure my tail with the previous, maybe make it an inch shorter. Do the same thing. I'm going to place my ribbon down inside, bringing that tail towards me. Give it a twist. And with this ribbon, I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. The loop, I mean. So the first we're at 6. So I think I'm going to come down about a 1/2 inch, just so that pink will show underneath this green. Give it a twist. And I'm just eyeballing it with that previous ribbon. About a 1/2 inch. Right there. Give it a twist. Now I'll measure to the loop I just formed. We've got our size. And repeat the process. Okay, I'm going to just fan these out a little bit. So we've got a pink. I want to see how it's going to look to determine how many loops I want to do. So there's our 3. And then if we did just the 2 on each side, we would have that in between, and I like that. So I think I'm going to stop there and just do 2 loops on each side rather than the 3 that we did with the pink. And again, I'm going to cut this ribbon about an inch shorter. And we'll put this one away for now. If we do decide to add tails to the wreath, if it doesn't look quite right, like I said, this is the first time I'm trying this, I'm just going to leave these over here to the side. Okay, let me just fan out this other, keeping our tails down in the center. I'm not puffing them out yet, fluffing them. Just want to see the placement. Okay. Okay. So we'll have a green in between each of those. Now I'm going to come in with my lighter pink. I'm going to finish off with this botanical ribbon on the top. Coming just a little bit shorter than that previous ribbon. Give it a twist. I want to be a little shorter again than that green we just had down, maybe another ½ inch. And I'll have that laying on the hot pink. It's my thought. So there's one. Twist it. Again, maybe a ½ inch shorter than the previous. Now we've got our length. We'll just measure to that loop. There's so many different types of bows I've learned being in design school that you can make also. Okay, so let's see. We have one there, one there. And then we'll have one sitting on that pink. Just try to get a feel for it. Okay, I think we need to make more. So I'm going to give it a twist. So I'd like to have this light pink sitting on all of the deeper pinks. Okay, so now we've got 3 on each side. We don't twist because we've come to the tail. Just going to measure it up against my other one. Get it approximately the same length. Okay, let me see what we've got. Pink, pink, pink. Just get a feel for what it's going to look like so I can determine how much of this other ribbon I want to place. Okay, so you can see how that's working out. I like it. Okay, that looks good. Okay. Now this is a little wider. It's a 2.5 inch where the others were 1.5 inch. if I would just want to do some tails of this. I was thinking of having one more of the green come up this way. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to lay this ribbon down about the same length. I'm going to bring one this way, about the same length as our underneath one. So now we'll have the pink, we'll have some of this green. Just make it look a little bit different. We can trim these if we find they're too long. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a zip tie and I'm going to go under all of my ribbons. Just going to lift it up a little bit, making sure I'm under them all. And then bring my zip tie up. Oh, I got it reversed. And just connect and begin to tighten it, but I'm not going to tighten it all the way, just enough so it stays together. And you can see I've got quite a stack of ribbon right there, so I just want to slide my zip tie to the back. And then I'm going to take a pipe cleaner and I'm just going to feed that under the zip tie. Press it down on the ribbon so you can get it through. Okay? And then I'm going to tighten. I'm going to pull the bow towards my belly and pull the zip tie away. You don't want your hand to slip off and punch yourself in the face. Use my wire cutters and I'm just going to cut that excess off from our zip tie, leaving us with that pipe cleaner, chenille stems, whatever you want to call them. Moving my tails down to the center, hanging on to those, getting them out of the way. Just trying to get these where I want them to lay. There's no need for me to fluff it right now. Oops. So there's one half kind of fluffed out. We'll do the same thing to the other side. And then these I'll probably cut a little shorter and they'll just be poking here on the top. If we feel we want to add that tail in, we can add that later. Another tail to match our others. Okay, let me bring the wreath back over. I'm glad I put that pink on the bottom instead of the green against the green. So just getting my tails situated and then deciding where I want to place my bow, how I'm going to have my flowers on here. So I'm thinking I could have it up here at about the 11 o'clock point, and then we could have some florals coming down this way and going over here, and we could leave this plain. So why don't we try that? I have this little needle. It's I think it's for yarn. You can see that. It's plastic. And what I like to do is I just feed one end of the chenille stem through. And I want to attach this ribbon to that metal base that we have below. So I need to go right through my mesh. So this allows me to get through quite easily. And I can just pull that end through. Let me grab this other one. I want to make sure I'm catching a couple of the wires of the frame. Just get this through. There we go. Okay, just so you can see the back, I'm pushing my bow again. I'm on top of my wire. I'm going to look at it. I don't want to pull it too tight. I don't want the bow to collapse in on itself. I want it to sit like this on top of the mesh. Okay? I'm wondering if I have that too centered, too close to the center. I think I'm going to move it over just a little bit. I think I may have kept it too close to the center. I definitely want it to be on the side. I think I'm going to like this better. So I'll turn that over again for you. You can see I'm pulling that needle through, and my pipe cleaner comes right through. And you can do that with the grapevine too. It goes through the grapevine nicely. So there's one of these crossbars. So what I'm going to do, see how tight I want it. That's about it. And I'm just going to twist that in place. I'll go back later and cut off my ends, but for now that's good. Okay, so let's take a minute and fluff this out and see how we like it. Make sure we like that placement. So we've got the pink, pink, the light pink over the dark. You can just really get in there because you used a zip tie and really twist. Your ribbons to get them fluffed out. Okay, and I know I want this one over here. And that's one thing, you'll fluff and fluff and fluff some more the whole time you're working on your wreath. Okay, so that's what we have. Right away, I know these are too long, so I'm going to take about an inch. I just want those to kind of stand up in the center. I'm just cutting them at an angle. Some people dovetail. I do sometimes, but overall I do just like cutting my ribbons on a slant. Okay, and then we can just curl our ribbon, pull it down a little. Do our next one. I forgot to trim. Again, I just cut that at an angle, just twisting that up. We'll fool around with those more later, but just so you can see, and those will drop. So we have our bow. Okay, I think what I'm going to do now is stop the video, and then I'll come back and we'll do the florals together, and I'll just go over what we're going to be using again. I've got this pretty fern that matches very nicely. So we're going to be using some of that. We've got these beautiful, and they have a little pink underneath, if you can see that, peonies. We'll divide those up. So we'll have some peonies on there. And then we're going to come in with our stargazer lilies. One of the most fragrant lilies there are. I absolutely love them. I used to grow them when I lived in Rhode Island in my garden. So we'll be placing that. And then I have this berry bush with a tiny floral that will be mixing in with that. So on the next video, that's what we'll do, and I'll probably title that Adding Florals to Our Mesh Wreath. So I want to take this time now to thank you so much for being with me today and taking the time. I'm thrilled that you're taking the journey with me and hope you will continue. Comment below, please. Introduce yourself to me. I'd love to get to know you. This is what we have. You can see how full the wreath came out. But I think it's just going to be a little bit too long for you, so that's why I'm going to stop now. Until the next video, I will say goodbye. This is Elaine, inspired by my angel, CLM. You have a great afternoon.